Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Free Toaster podcast. We are here with Nick Madrid, Toaster co-founder, and Amanda Brouslow, our newest guest and partner here on the business. So Amanda will be our GM of events. Amanda comes to us with a decade and a half of experience at Capital One, with about 8 to 9 of those years in the CoBrand business. And we actually have a story this week on co-brands, which I'm excited to get your take on, Amanda. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And her first big initiative is going to be something I posted about yesterday on LinkedIn, which is our affiliate marketing summit for decision makers. It's going to be on September 23rd in San Francisco at the Exploratorium. Nick and I checked it out last week. We're pumped about the venue. Indoor outdoor space overlooking the bay. It's going to be awesome. If you are a senior decision maker in affiliate marketing, mark your calendars. Hit us up if you're interested in attending. It's going to be invitation only, but we're going to look at folks, obviously, that are interested in coming. So watch out for that in the coming months. Before we go to the news, I want to thank our sponsors, Bulldog Media Group, Fintel Connect, and Spinwheel. This week we're changing it up. We're going to do 3 stories instead of just one. And Amanda, you got the first story. I'm kicking it over to you.
Thanks, Carlos. First story is a quick product update on Experian. Company recently expanded its no ding decline feature to include personal loans. What this means is if you use Experian Marketplace to apply for a personal loan and you get rejected, you will not get a hard inquiry on your credit report. Now, Experian originally launched this program for credit cards, but it's interesting to see the expansion very quickly to personal loans. We were able to actually get an exclusive quote from Experian on this. They shared with us that over 40% of all cards and loans acquired through their marketplace now use this feature. They also noted a 16% increase in personal loan usage in 2025. And right now, about 38% of US consumers have at least one personal loan. Carlos, I know many of your clients do business with Experian, and you got us this inside track as we were eager to get some statistics on how pervasive this product was. Can you talk more about this story with us?
Yeah. No, first I want to thank Rakesh on the Experian side for chatting with us yesterday about this, and he offered that data point on the 40%. That number surprised me. It's a big number. 40% of approvals coming from the no ding experience. It really indicates to me that customers are really gravitating to the experience. In the newsletter, we actually put a screenshot. I think you should go check it out. And if you're on the video pod, by the way, video pod right now is on Spotify only. So hop over to Spotify if you want to see this on video. We'll get it over to YouTube and Apple in the coming weeks. But you'll see there's like a special tab that says no ding decline. So consumers, if they're shopping for cards, know there's a place they can find products that have this enabled. When I looked at it personally, I saw just a few brands that looked like prime brands. I saw some other subprime brands. My impression is that Experian is still building their roster of partners that they're working with on no ding. And that's why the 40% number really jumped out at me, because it doesn't appear like all the products are no ding enabled quite yet, and even despite that, 40% of consumers are gravitating to it. So it does seem like it's working. To me, it seems like a different spin from what I've seen from, say, Credit Karma. I've seen them test the Credit Karma guarantee badging, and they've also tested no impact to apply badging. Karma hasn't publicly disclosed their numbers of what percentage of customers are coming through that, so we don't necessarily have a comparison point. But given how early Experian is on this product, I think the 40% seems super encouraging to me.
It's clear priority though. Like I opened up the app, which I'm actually really like, and literally the first pop-up I have is use experience no ding decline on the card side, and then it was super easy to find it on the personal loan side. So it's at least clear to me that this is really messaging they want to lean into, and with 40%, it must be working.
Yeah, no, and look, I guess my suggestion to fintech lenders listening to this, trying to get more exposure within affiliate channels, would be go talk to Karma, go talk to Experian, ask them about no ding decline, ask them about Credit Karma Guarantee. Get really clear on how these programs work, because there's no question there's some response rate benefit if you're enabled there. So let's cut to our second story. American Airlines and Citi are expanding their nearly 40-year partnership. Starting this month, you'll begin to see Citi branding at the entrance of American Airlines Admirals Club lounges. Apparently, these updates will be starting in Chicago, Dallas, LA, and Miami, with more locations planned throughout the rest of 2026. So they kind of made a big deal of this from a PR perspective. We covered it in the newsletter. On the surface level, this felt to me kind of like a tactical branding update. But Amanda, you've been in partnerships for a while. Like, what's your take here? Is there a story underneath this?
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a story both in what's going on when you're trying to win with a premium credit card, but also what's going on with Citi in general. So I'm with you. At first, you read this simple story. These two have been partners with each other for decades. Americans already got lounges. There's going to be some sub branding. But a couple interesting things going on here, which once you add them together, I think signal a really big deepening in this relationship and potentially like now more of a switching cost if American ever chooses to go elsewhere. So American actually did a big RFP, so request for proposal in the CoBrand space. So when these deals come up for renewal every 5 to 7 years, you have an opportunity to just continue to re-up with your partner bank, or you can go out to the market. And they went really broad to the market. They got a lot of compelling pitches. And all in all, like they made a pretty conscious decision to re-up with Citi, and they actually dropped Barclays as a second partner. So some of these co-brand products actually have two different issuers that'll offer products to the same customer set. It's a little bit funky. Hilton does it as well. But I think when Citi went ahead with American, they very clearly must have said and probably gave some financial upside to just signing with them. So not just the fact that American and Citi just signed, but the timing also lines up with Citi's major investment in the premium space. So Citi Strada Elite is one of the products that they've got that they're looking to compete with the Chase Reserves, with the Amex Platinums, with the Venture X's, and Lounge Access is becoming table stakes. I know from my time at Capital One that when we were out there trying to find places and lounges where we had no airline partner, we had no place that we could get in. Airlines had, 10, sometimes 20-year deals with this real estate. And when an airport redesigns, the first thing they're thinking of is not let's get some more space for some lounges. It's usually about the same amount of space. And so this is actually a huge way for Citi to get into this space. My short version on this story is like, this is a big win for Citi in a lot of different cases. They've got a solo partner now. They've gotten lounge access without trying to battle somebody else for the space. They're able to really talk about their premier product and give more benefits that are American specific. And so I've got to imagine that there's some really big financial upside that they gave to American to make this happen.
Was the deal up for like its normal renewal, or was this like
it was
term type of thing? Okay.
It was up for its time of renewal, and these deals do tend to be short, but what happens over the course of 5 to 7 years is you're often just negotiating another 3 years here or there. And so sometimes these, endpoints are non-starters. We're always going to partner with you. I want to say that the number is something like 90% of the time, if not more. You're just re-upping with your existing partner. And so choosing to go broad into the market was something different.
Got it. And you said you suspect Citi had to sweeten the deal for American Airlines here to get the logo on kind of out there on the lounges. Like, do you think that was like a 7-figure check, 8-figure check, 9-figure check? Like, what are the orders of magnitude here on these types of partnerships?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure whether this was so. Definitely the deal in and of itself is netting, 7-figure revenue. But, it's a lot of these times what's negotiated in the first deal is the biggest kind of favorable economics. And so this could have very much been one where, a year and a half ago when they knew they wanted to go hard with the Citi Strada Elite product. They said, hey, American, if you're going to stay with Citi, like this is what we need. We're going to need you to go, even more so with us in lounges. And now there's a bigger switching cost too, right? You got to get Citi's name off of all your lounges if you decide to go with another partner.
Amanda, I know you travel a lot. Do you have a favorite lounge?
My favorite lounge is the ones that let me in. So I was very saddened when VentureX stopped letting in their authorized users, and I lost my access to the
I
venture
saw that.
lounges.
Yeah, that was in February, right?
Yeah, these lounges are trying to manage the amount of space for people. They don't want to create wait lists. They want to let their best customers in. So I totally understand it. I really liked what they did with the lounges though, and it was like really small servings of really premium food, and the lounge just was never crowded. I was able to actually try some interesting ones through my travels to South Africa. I actually loved the South African Airways lounge. I got in with a priority pass. That's another way that cards are giving offerings, as you get access to all of the lounges with priority.
Was that overseas or domestic airport?
It was in the Johannesburg airport.
Okay. Mine's probably the VentureX in Dulles is awesome.
All right.
I was just there with my family, and it's super plush, great food, coffee bar. I think it's really well done, and it's right after security, so you don't have to like walk very far. Like you clear security and you just jump right in the lounge. I like that one a lot.
Now, do they have a space for you and your kids to sit separately than all the business travelers that want to relax?
No, my kids were just harassing everybody. Actually, I don't know. They were like pretty good behavior.
I did see a lounge on my trip that had one really big room. It was actually glass windows, and it was for families with kids. So you could see a bit of the chaos going on mid-travel, but you didn't hear the chaos. And so I think it was kind of a win-win.
I appreciate that.
One last comment I was going to make on this CoBrand story too was we've seen, and we've talked about, we've had it in other newsletters, just this rise of debit cards in the CoBrand space. Nothing we've seen going on there with American in the debit space, but Southwest has been a partner that has been doing it more recently. So I think we'll continue to see that as an opportunity for lenders, both subprime products as well as debit products. As of now, my guess is to get, the American CoBrand, you got to have a 720, 740 FICO score. And so certainly an opportunity, certainly customers on the lower spectrum of FICO that are still going to be interested in a product.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned it, because I think for a lot of the lenders I speak with, they're always looking for new distribution channels, and they're oftentimes trying to diversify their mix that tends to be concentrated in direct mail and affiliate marketing. And I think these co-brand orchestrations layers could be like really interesting for a lot of those brands. So no, that's great. Should we jump to the last story before we run out of time?
Yeah, let's do it. Nick, I think you're going to take us through the last story. You spent some time at Chime. Really interesting Cash App story in the news this week. I'd love to hear your take on it.
Cool. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, I think it's interesting to know, in our weekly editorial meeting, one of the key pillars that we want to track is just everything that's happening in buy now, pay later. I think it's important to us because it helps us understand a little bit more about the consumer, knowing that Cash App has 59 million monthly transacting users. I think we get to understand the users, we get to understand the messaging, the things that are important to them. And so this one absolutely caught our eye. So, they recently added a feature, this is Cash App, that lets you pay over time, so buy now, pay later essentially, when you send money directly to friends and family. So this is peer-to-peer transfers. This is crazy. So it's a pretty straightforward breakdown of how it works. If you send $25 or more to someone else through Cash App within the last 30 days, you could then choose to convert that payment back into a short-term installment plan. And then Cash App will instantly return the money to you as you send it back, as they send it back. Users pay a 7.5% fee on this transfer amount, with weekly repayments stretching up to 6 weeks. Look, they position this as a practical option if you need a little more flexibility with your cash flow after you split utilities or unexpected expenses and so forth. So I don't know. The quote that they gave, I think, is interesting. It says, "I thought," this is the user that they quoted, "I thought that the pay over time product was pretty awesome. If I send some money to somebody else and end up needing a little bit of back, I can do that." I was trying to think through. I was like racking my brain, like what else can they extend buy now pay later to? Like, can you think of something crazy? Imagine a world like they extend it to it, and we're like, what is happening? What comes to mind? Either Amanda or Carlos. Like, what else can they extend buy now pay later to?
I can tell you what's in my inbox at least once a day when I don't do too much of it already
Let's hear it. Let's
is
hear it.
sports
Yeah.
betting.
Oh no.
DraftKings, they're in my inbox every single day, even if I haven't bet in 3 months. Imagine if DraftKings emails you, Nick, and says, "Hey, Nick, you want to bet $50 on this basketball game?
No.
We don't even need that $50 up front from you.
Oh,
You can pay it over
no.
time."
Oh, that does not sound like a good idea. Carlos, would you do buy now later over your buy-ins? You know,
I 100% would do it.
You would?
100%.
Okay.
I would. Why not? For a 7.5% fee, I'm not so sure though, Nick. Because if you look clearly at the terms here, I think that's what I gathered. But no, I do think there's like a confluence of trends. So you have the online gambling trend, and that's I guess dominated by sports betting these days. And then you have like the buy now pay later trend, which is we thought was just e-com for a while, but then we saw Apple. Nick, you and I covered this a few weeks ago, where Apple lets you do buy now pay later in physical merchants with like a click of a single button, literally. And now Cash App is enabling this for peer-to-peer transactions. It does seem natural that you're going to get the email, Amanda, from DraftKings or FanDuel or one of those guys on the $100 bet paid over 10 payments. For anyone that plays poker and knows that if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I'm obsessed with poker. I learned recently that the World Series is going to take buy-ins up to $10,000 on credit cards, and the kicker is without a fee. No fee at all. So pretty wild. I've never seen them do that before. Apparently they did it last year. So if you're a rewards hacker and you play cards and you're going to be in Vegas in July, my God, you could get a lot of points fast. So anyways, yeah, no, I don't know. Someone's going to get hurt here at the end of all of this. Definitely some consumers are going to end up in a rough place. Probably some lenders. And Amanda, you and I were commenting before the show that card issuers should probably be taking a close look at the transactions in like these gambling related categories, because it seems to be opening up more than it has been historically. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So cool. We're right at time. So we'll wrap. If you'd love to get the latest on what's going on at the intersection of consumer lending, marketing, and technology, sign up for our newsletter. You can go find it at thefreetoaster.com. Also, if you're a fan of the podcast and you haven't left a rating or followed the show or told us you're a fan, please do so, because our podcast audience is probably our most mysterious audience out there. We know who's our fan on LinkedIn. We know who subscribed to the newsletter. We have almost no idea who listens to the pod. So do us a solid, leave us a review or follow the show. And with that, we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Carlos.
Bye,
See you guys.